Okay. So I want to give a little insight into who I am and why I'm here and why I feel like the work that I'm starting to do in the business I'm starting to build is so important, and to just kind of let you guys know who I am a little bit. So I'm going to do a little video series of how did I get here. So this will be part one. So we're going to kind of talk a little bit about where my mindset on things started, um, which is not necessarily where I am right now. So, um, I learned at an early age that, emotions are not something that we deal with. We toughen up. We don't be dramatic. We put that stuff away because that keeps safety in the environment. My safety was learned that perfect behavior is what it needs to be. We don't create stress because that can be a trigger to the adults in the world. Both of my parents have grown by leaps and bounds, but when they started their family, which was not planned, they were young and dealing with a lot of their own issues themselves. So my mom was going through mental health issues and she was always trying to find it. And I thank her for that because that has been an example for me my whole life. But during my early years, it was very hard because she was trying to understand what was going on with her in a world that shamed you for having mental health issues instead of trying to help you understand and grow from that. And then I had a dad who was an active alcoholic at the time, and wasn't always like the coolest dude, but kudos to him for 34 years and still going of sobriety. So both of them have grown and I love them dearly, and I wouldn't be who I am without that. So no shame in that part of my story, but it did in reality affect how my nervous system registered things and how I registered things like safety. So, needless to say, I learned from infancy that safety meant to not stir the pot in any way. And unfortunately, into my adulthood, that meant confrontation was terrifying. And we'll get into that in one of the other videos that explain a little bit more of who I am. Um, Sorry, I'm trying to like not have the music be super loud, but I also don't want to cry through this, so we're gonna do that. um, so when did I start disconnecting from myself, even subtly? I would hear my parents arguing from my bedroom, and over the course of that, think of ways that I could subtly fix the problem or to make peace, just to make it stop. And that would be like my actions over the next couple days. That did cause a couple issues growing up, which I'm not going to get too personal. Maybe like if you ever work with me one on one, I share more of my story, but I'm not going to publicize all of our drama out there. So, um, but I was always trying to make peace, give love and support to them when they needed it. Um, and then it would be really hard listening to divorced parents and my step families talk trash about the other parent. That was something that would really bother me, but I never said anything about because that would be confrontation and that would be creating drama, and that could eliminate that safety factor that I thought that being quiet and keeping my shit together meant. Um, this also went into my relationships with my friends. I had a lot of friends who talked trash and started terrible rumors like I was on drugs or having babies all the time. And it would be very hurtful, but I would never confront them about it because then I would be alone and I wouldn't have any friends, and that wouldn't be cool because when you're a teenager, that matters. um, so I would support them through their hard times, but I would be super alone through my hard times. And so that's when I found that the next best thing was just to kind of go numb and put all my stuff away. So I became an awesome masker. No matter what was going on at home or with friends, I could come and seem like I'm the bubbly, let's go get stuff done, everyone's awesome, I'm not a cookie cutter, let's just vibe with everything kind of person. But it was just a lot of hollow and emptiness inside. I always had this like melancholy longing for this feeling I knew could exist, but I didn't know how to get there. It's the best way for me to explain it, but it was just a lot of empty numbness. My childhood wasn't all miserable. There was times of excitement and hope and all that, but it was always linked to me trying to be perfect, trying to do everything right, and trying not to disappoint anyone. So having those unrealistic expectations on myself led to a lot of suicidal thoughts, depression, and anxiety. And those were fueled with the normal teenager things that people go through. But I would have, friends would exclude me from the group when they would want to hang out with everyone else. So I always felt like the outcast and like I didn't have a good group. I had best friends, but I never felt like I could be super close and tight with them because I felt unwanted, whether that's what they were doing or not. I felt unwanted. And then I would, date those cool boys who would break up with you because you're too fat, because in the early 2000s, 5'5" and 140 pounds was too big. So that's the beginning story of Brittany. And I didn't realize at the time how much all of this would matter. And we'll talk a little bit more in the next video of how I came to be where I am. So that's that.